What I'd like to do now is help you understand how to map out customer roles from a real-life example. And I'd like to go back to the example of the family buying crackers. And the first thing to do when you're thinking about mapping out customer roles is just simply to lay out the various players and stakeholders without even trying to map them to the purchase roles yet. So we've talked about the family and each member of the family having a somewhat different perspective. There's the retailer, the place where the family is buying the food. And in that case, you might have a couple of different players. You might have a buyer at the headquarters, and you might have somebody that's laying out the store plan or the store layout that determines the positioning of the product. So I'm going to use the term the planner for that. You'll also perhaps be dealing with a distributor. And also there, you're going to have a more senior person, as well as a representative, the person that actually goes to the store and puts the products on the shelves. You may have people that are determining what products composition can be and what claims you can be making about your product. You may also have various types of influencers. So people who are on social media or other sources who influence this little girl as to what she may want. So you have a lot of players, and they all have some sort of role related to your product. You also have competition in here. So your competitor will also have their own distribution rep and may also be dealing in different ways with the retailer to perhaps convince them to give them preferable placement in the store, as one example. So now let's map this out to the customer map. The end user, who many of us think of intuitively as the customer, but in fact, we have multiple customer roles. In this case, we might have the child as the end user, and maybe the family is secondary in there. The parents who sneak the child's snacks when she's asleep, for instance, which is what my husband does in my household. Another player in the picture is the decision maker. And we're talking, what's interesting here is we have a couple of different types of decision makers. So in the family, a lot of times it's the parents that ultimately make the decision. And you could argue whether it's mom, dad, or both. But somebody has also made the decision about having the product even be on the shelf. And so the retail buyer is also an important decision maker. The payer may be more relevant in a large corporate sale. In corporate settings, you'll have people for whom that's a specific job, or if you're in like healthcare or education, insurers or school districts may play a very different role versus the actual teachers or the people directly interacting with your product. So that may not be as relevant in this particular context. But you could argue that in some way the parents have a role here as well. Another role here is influencer. In the medical setting, it might be a so-called key opinion leader or a physician who is very active in this space. But in a retail setting, this is where bloggers and Instagrammers are very, very important in terms of driving business to particular products and services. Then we come to recommender. In a corporate setting, it may be a professional. In a consumer setting, it may be someone that's not even on this list yet, but it may be friends of this little girl who is so excited about a product. Friends, key opinion leaders are two examples. And then finally, we have the people that do not want you to be successful. It's a saboteur. So it might be the distribution rep of your competitor, the person that hides your product behind your product on the shelf, as just one example. All of these people play a role, and it's important to understand what's important to them, the degree to which you can be satisfying them, and then finally, in the case of the saboteur, how you can neutralize their effects.